Hello everybody and welcome back to yet another Logan Blackman Show YouTube video. As you can probably tell by the title, this one will be going over the United States men's national team's upcoming match against Haiti, which will be taking place on Sunday. Nice little revenge game for Haiti, potentially, from the 2021 goal, because remember, the United States won that game 1-0 down in Kansas City. Sam Vines with the goal in that game, and I remember going into that, you're like, and the United States should probably handle business fairly easily. I mean, you look at the gap between the perceived gap, I should say, between the United States and Haiti at the national team level. You go like, okay, the United States realistically should win this game like 3-4-0, but you know, we'll take the goal from Sam Vines. You'll take a win when you can get him. It was the first game of the tournament that year in the United States. At that point, that's where we kind of started to see like the more experimental squads in the recent years. Because you remember back in 2019, like that's where you still had players like Pulisic in the squad. Weston McKennie was in the squad. Like a little bit of a stronger squad than what we're seeing right now from the national team. In 2019, you saw like Sebastian Lletget in the team. Sam Vines, we talked about before. Matt Turner was getting his getting his feet wet pretty much going into that tournament. I think he had 1 or 2 caps going into that tournament, and the United States obviously went on to win that tournament, so maybe this is a good omen for the United States if they're able to get a result against Haiti, and this one, maybe that'll be a good omen for them to continue going on further and win yet another Gold Cup. Because reminder, the United States is already qualified for the knockout stage. They beat Saudi Arabia 1-0, and that game was kind of frustrating, not gonna lie. Now the goal did come from Chris Richards from a beautiful set piece from Sebastian Berhalter, and they kind of brought this up in the broadcast. That's the word I was looking for. Is that the United States set pieces have been a lot better with the likes of Sebastian Berhalter and Jack McGlynn with the right and left-footed specialists from those set pieces. Because the United States has kind of struggled from set pieces. Because Christian Pulisic, though he's a decent set piece specialist at club level, he's not really the best set piece player at international level. He's been inconsistent at corners. He's been inconsistent at free kicks. But having those two guys in there, and Berhalter and McGlynn, have been helpful. And Berhalter was on a lot of set pieces throughout this game. And like I said, just floated in perfectly. Chris Richards sticks his left foot out, gets it past the goalkeeper for 1 to get the United States up 1-0. Was he offsides? That's for the referee to decide. I'm not a referee. I'm going to be biased, of course. He was clearly onside. He was clearly onside. Who would even think that he was offsides in that goal? Like, it's clear that he was offsides. But Chris Richards had himself a fantastic game, not just from the goal-scoring standpoint, but I thought he defended in the game really, really well. Apart from the weird back pass that he had to Matt Freese earlier in the game, but Matt Freese handled that well, and Chris Richards was like, hey, my bad, gave him the thumbs up and all that stuff. But apart from that, I thought Chris Richards played an excellent game in there. Matt Freese, again, was solid in net. Really didn't need to do a whole lot in this game. Did have more touches in this one against Saudi Arabia than he did against Trinidad and Tobago. So it's nice to see him get further involved in the national team. And again, keeping the clean sheets big, even though Saudi Arabia only had 3 shots. Like, in total so far this Gold Cup, Matt Freese has faced 6 shots, and only 3 of them have been on target. 2 of them came against Trinidad and Tobago. So to have those, like, calm performances from him in net and be confident in him in net is key. And I thought the United States in general, was semi-frustrating. I got an update after the game from Fox Sports. The United States wins in thriller against Saudi Arabia. It's like, I don't know what game Fox Sports was watching. The game was on your network. You would think out of all the networks out there, they would be able to know that this game was not a thriller in the freaking slightest. It was frustrating at times. Like, the United States struggled to break down Saudi Arabia. They played everybody back. They played 9 people behind the ball pretty much with 1 striker. In the United States, they kept trying to build their attack from the left wing. Like, Max Armstrong was pretty much holding hands with the touchline the entire game, and he was sweating like freaking crazy. Now, it does help that it was 88 degrees. Even though it was in the evening, it was still 88 degrees, which is freaking insane. But Armstrong pretty much hugged the touchline the entire time. And then when they didn't go to Armstrong, they just worked their way back. Like, I remember there was a free kick or a corner that they had where they started the build up nice, and then all of a sudden we're just going backwards, and all of a sudden the ball's all the way back to Matt Freese when we were just by the opponent's box. Like, why are we playing backwards? Why are we struggling to build from this attack? They're literally inviting you to do something, and we couldn't get anything structured. Like, the only time the United States, crazy enough, had 5 shots in this game. Only 5 shots. The first one that they had came in the 44th or 45th minute in the first half, and it was a Patrick Agyemang header that just went right to the goalkeeper. Like, there was no real threat. But you saw like Diego Luna playing more centrally. You saw Malik Tillman. They were kind of playing like a 3-4-2-1 formation, kind of like Ruben Amorim at Manchester United, trying to play that style because Jack McGlynn was even on the far touchline for most of the game. So they struggled to break down Saudi Arabia. Now, they did make a nice little change in the second half. They got Alex Freeman to push up the pitch a little bit further. Sebastian Berhalter dropped more into a more deep line playmaker position. We saw him deploy it right back for a little bit to cover for Freeman that was bombing up down the field. It was a frustrating-ish game, but hey, you'll take the results when you give them. I appreciate the adjustments at halftime. Didn't make any substitutions because, again, this was the exact same lineup that we saw against Trinidad and Tobago. So you want to get them more familiar with each other, and keeping that same squad on and seeing how they adjust to the adjustments could be big in helping grow this national team even further. And there was an improvement. Like Malik Tillman, I thought played a lot better in the second half than he did in the first half. He made some great passes in there. Damian Downs came in, made some great runs in the second half as well. Patrick Agyemang, I'm still not sold on him as being the main number 9 in this specific squad. Obviously, he's not the main guy when the A team's all bet because, again, you got Balogun and Pepe in the squad. But where would you rank Patrick Agyemang in regards to the other strikers in the squad? It just looks kind of awkward when he's dribbling the ball. Like, he's a big physical presence up top. He's athletic. He can run. But he just looks so awkward when he runs with the ball at his feet. And I don't really trust him when he has a chance on target, when he has a chance in the box. I don't necessarily trust him to put the ball in the back of the net. Like, I just don't really feel that confidence with him that, oh, we got a ruthless striker up top. And when you're playing these quote-unquote weaker teams, you would expect, like, players to take advantage. If he was ruthless, he'd be scoring at will, but he's just not really doing that. And I don't know what the main goal with Patrick Agyemang is, if he's really like the striker 3 behind Pepe and Balogun, or if he's number 2 even, or number 1. Maybe Maurizio Pochettino views him as the number 1 striker for the squad. But I think Damian Downs, just a little bit of a spoiler, I do think since he was, and Haji Wright, he had an Achilles injury before the game. So if I'm predicting you to start as the striker for the United States in this tournament, chances are you're going to have some sort of illness or injury, because the past 2 games against Trinidad and Tobago and Saudi Arabia, I predicted Damian Downs to start. He had an illness. I predicted Haji Wright to start this past game. He had an injury. So we'll have to wait and see on who starts in this game. But I thought Damian Downs made some really good runs. I don't really think you could sit there and tell me that Damian Downs is a worse striker than Patrick Agyemang. Like, they offered a couple different things, but I think just from an overall skill set, Damian Downs is the better player. So I would like to see him start in this next game, but Lord knows we'll have to wait and see on that, because we'll have to see what kind of lineup the United States runs, because, again, they're already qualified for the knockout stage. So do you see him put a squad out there that is like completely different? Like, do you completely change the starting lineup, or do you continue to stick with the exact same guys that have worked for you up to this point? I guess we'll have to wait and see on that. But for more individual performances, I thought, again, Arfston, I thought he played well, given the fact that he was staying attached to that left sideline the entire time. Chris Richards, I thought, played well. Sebastian Berhalter had a much better game this time than he did against Saudi Arabia, and vice versa. Luca De La Torre, I thought, was a little bit worse than what he was against Saudi Arabia. Diego Luna kind of struggled to get going in this game as well. Jack McGlynn had a couple nice crosses into the box. Like, you had some low-driven crosses with his right foot, which is something that you don't really see from him all that often. Overall, you'll take the win. It's still frustrating. Like, we had a little bit of a scuffle in the game where Hervé Renard ran out into the pitch because Tyler Adams he got pushed over. Sebastian Berhalter went up to go talk or fight or whatever to somebody, and Hervé Renard just ran out in the field and, like, bodied up everybody on the field, and Pochettino had to run over there. So we're going to have to wait and see how this carries over into the Haiti game, because if you look at Haiti, they love to take their shots from outside of the box. You look at the game against Saudi Arabia, they had 8 shots from outside the box. This game against Trinidad and Tobago, they had 16 shots in total. 9 of them were from outside the box. And what's kind of sad for Haiti's standpoint is that they're taking all these shots, but only 3 of them were on target. Like, they're pretty much just implementing the spray and pray mentality going into each and every game. Like, we're just going to take as many shots as possible, and if we keep taking more shots, then that means we're more likely to score. At least that's what it seems like their thought process is in this game. But in this game against Trinidad and Tobago, it was kind of similar to that of not exactly, because I thought they played better against Saudi Arabia, but in this game, like, you get down to 10 men in the 39th minute. Down to 10 men. Levi Garcia's through on goal. You just absolutely wipe him out. Straight red card. Duckins Dazan, the all-time leading goal scorer for your national team, he gets subbed off to get another defender in the game, so you're already playing down 10 men. I do feel kind of bad for Duckins Dazan, but Francis Perio, he got a goal in this game. Don Lucis goes right down the right side of the field, chips it into the box. Not chips it into the box, but just gets the ball across the box, and Francis Perio just chips it over the goalkeeper. I guess you want to say chips. He just passes it just a nice, really easy goal. You had a penalty shout right before the end of the first half as well. They got initially called a penalty, but VAR ended up ruling it out. They had their chances in this game, and they just, you know, it's upsetting from a Haitian standpoint that you couldn't take fuller advantage of those opportunities that you had. And then you have Trinidad and Tobago going right down the field. They're not right down the field, but right after the goal, they kept attacking. They had a shot that hit the bar. They had a couple crosses that went in that probably should have been finished better. But then you get the free kick goal. Nice little floated ball in the box. Levi Garcia's their back post, heads it in to tie the game up at 1. Then you get saved again. You get a penalty, which was it inside the box? Was it outside the box? Lord knows. It just depends on viewers' discretion, I guess you could say. But you've already took out Perio. You subbed him off in the 82nd minute. You subbed off Duckins Dazan, so your two main goal scorers, like Perio's 31 goals for the national team, Duckins Dazan has 40. These are two of your top 3 goal scorers of all time, and both of them are off the pitch, and now you got a substitute coming on who's going to line up and take the penalty. He tries to do the Bruno Fernandes style penalty where he jumps and does a really slow run up. He gets the goalie to dive the wrong way and just sails it over the bar. Like, it was a weird thing. It was like, he didn't put any power on it. It just absolutely just scooped it and just sailed it over the bar. In the 82nd minute, it's like, okay, this will get you your opportunity right here. Like, I'm sure there's a lot of Haitian fans, a lot of players on that Haiti team that are kind of kicking themselves for how they've wasted opportunities against the likes of Saudi Arabia and Trinidad and Tobago, because they could be looking at a lot better situation to be at right now if not for those wasted opportunities. Like, they've had 17 shots from outside the box in 2 games so far. Like, they are just absolutely layering shots into the box, and right now it hasn't really been working up to this point. Again, you had 16 total shots and 3 of them on target against Trinidad and Tobago. It's not working. You gotta try something else at this point, because the attack is there. You're building up nicely, but then once you get there, you just start get all excited. You get too excited. You see the goal in your sights, you're like, well, I'm just gonna absolutely hammer one, and it's gonna go wide or high or something, or straight to the goalkeeper. Yeah, I guess we're gonna have to wait and see. But as far as key players for Haiti, you brought Duckins Dazan again, the all-time leading goal scorer for Haiti, subbed off in the 42nd minute. We'll see how he does against the United States. You got Francis Perio in there as well, who, again, got the goal. 31 goals to 39 caps all time in the national team. Again, 2 of their top 3 goal scorers are Duckins Dazan and Perio, so they have a lot of experience playing together. Now, Perio, again, does have 39 caps, but again, 31 goals for the national team, that's pretty damn impressive. And Haiti does run a 4-4-2 formation. You see, we talked about Don Lucius before, playing on that right Winfield spot. He's got 8 goals and 1 assist for OB over in Denmark. He's a left-footed right winger, so he likes to cut in on that left, but you saw the assist that he had to Perio, where he just carries the ball down the line and just plays it over the cross with his right foot, his weaker right foot. And the one thing is also important, they got a lot of experience in the back line. That was bad. I'm sorry. Their left back's name's Experience. That was bad. But in all seriousness, if you look back to the 2021 Gold Cup squad, or the Gold Cup game against the United States in that first group game, 3 of their 4 starting defenders in that game started this past game against Trinidad and Tobago. You look at the right back at Arcus, you got Ade in center back, and you got Experience at left back. Now, Experience doesn't have a ton of experience for the national team. I think he's got 12 caps to his name or something like that, but he did start 28 or 29 games for club level this year for, I think, Nancy. So they do have that experience. No pun intended at that point. They do have some experience there. They got some experience in net. Their starting goalkeeper, I think, has 73 caps to his name. Providence down the left wing. He was the guy who got fouled in the box that ultimately was not ruled a penalty in the first half. So yeah, this Haitian team, they're interesting. They're a very interesting team that could cause the United States some problems. And you look at somebody even like Daniel Jean Jacques in midfield. He's got 2 goals and 2 assists for the Philadelphia Union this year. He's third on the team in chances created this year as well, with 18, I believe it is. So this team can cause the United States some problems. They're going to have a new center back partner next to Ade in there because of the red card that we talked about before. So we'll see how they're able to bounce back from that. And maybe we see them play a back 5. We don't normally see that. We saw Saudi Arabia start the game in a back 5. So we'll see how that transpires throughout the course of the game. But this is a team that can cause problems for the United States. They're a very attack-heavy minded team. They're going to put a lot of shots on net, or not on net, but they're going to take a lot of shots. So I hope Matt Freese is mentally prepared for the amount of shots he's going to be peppered with this is the entire time. And again, for the starting lineup, it's going to be interesting to see how Pochettino goes and attacks this game, because of the fact that they've already qualified for the knockout stage. And the United States, realistically, unless they get absolutely blitzed by Haiti, they're going to be coming out on top in this group. Even if Saudi Arabia beats Trinidad and Tobago, the United States already has a +6 goal differential, or +6 goal differential. So unless they get blasted by Haiti and Saudi Arabia blasts Trinidad and Tobago, the United States is going to finish on top of this group. So we'll have to wait and see again how they address this, because they're in a good spot right now. And if you want to rest players to the knockout stage, I would completely understand that. But if you want to go for a more experienced team, or a team that you've been going with because it's been working up to this point, you don't want to change anything, because there's that fear of like resting players, like you've seen in the NFL, where like teams rest players going into the playoffs, and it kind of hurts them going to the long run because they're not fresh. Like you look at some of those teams, I remember it live, but the Denver Broncos in the 90s, resting all of their starters going into the playoffs. They had a first round bye, so they didn't play for 2 weeks, the starters, and they get beat by the Jacksonville Jaguars in the divisional round of the playoffs. And yeah, it's like that kind of stuff is scary, but you know what? It just depends on you want to avoid injuries and all that stuff. So I'm going to do 2 different lineups here just because I don't know how Mauricio Pochettino is going to address this. Now, I do think Matt Freese keeps his spot as the number 1 going into this game, because you just got to keep building that experience with him. Like I could see a reality where Chris Brady goes in the net. I don't really think at this point we're going to see Matt Turner in this tournament, but could be wrong. But Matt Freese, again, has faced 6 shots, I think I said earlier, throughout this tournament. So just keep getting him that experience within and around the national team. So he'll start there. At right back, Alex Freeman could keep that starting job there. If it's not him, Miles Robinson. We saw him coming in at right back at the end of the game against Saudi Arabia. He has played right back under Mauricio Pochettino before. I think that was the game against Jamaica, I want to say, where we saw him play at right back. It was a friendly game, I think. I can't remember who it was, but we could see him starting at right back. Nathan Harriel's also in there. But after seeing what he did against Switzerland, I'm going to say that he probably would go with Miles Robinson there. And you look at the left back spot, it's either Max Arson or John Tolkien. I mean, those are the only 2 left backs there. Max Arson, I thought, played well against Saudi Arabia. And John Tolkien, I thought, for the second half against Switzerland, when he came on, I thought he provided a nice little outlet down that left wing spot as well. So either one of those guys there, but if he goes with the guys he likes, like they're playing well right now, then Arvston. But if he wants to get some new players, some new blood, then John Tolkien will go there. Center back partnership, again, it's either Chris Richards and Tim Ream, or we're looking at something like Walker Zimmerman and Mark McKenzie. Like, again, we didn't see these guys. I think another thing that can be kind of important here is that a lot of these guys who haven't played so far this tournament, the last game they played was that game against Switzerland. So they're not really feeling the greatest about themselves at this point in time. So maybe you want to get those guys some confidence back in this game. And Mark McKenzie and Walker Zimmerman are 2 very experienced, or decently experienced center backs for the United States. So we can see both of them in there. So that'd be the back line for the experienced and the inexperienced team. And for the midfield too, it's kind of funny because these 2 would probably be the starters had they been healthy the entire time. But Johnny Cardoso and Tyler Adams, like Tyler Adams came on, I think, the 62nd minute or something like that. Johnny Cardoso came on in the 89th minute. Both were dealing with issues in the first game of the tournament against Trinidad and Tobago. You had Tyler Adams with the turf toe thing. You had Johnny Cardoso with the illness. So maybe you see a midfield 2 in there. Maybe you see like Sebastian Berhalter keep his spot in there for the more set piece action of that thing. So maybe you see him in there. Maybe Luca De La Torre keeps his spot. Maybe we see Paxton Aronson drop back in those deeper positions. But I think Tyler Adams will start this game. At least I would like to think he starts in this game regardless. But you either got Sebastian Berhalter next to him or Johnny Cardoso. In my opinion, you look at the attacking midfield 3. You look at the right spot. I'm going to put Quinn Sullivan back in there. Again, we saw him in the game against Trinidad and Tobago, or against Switzerland. He got subbed off at halftime. We've seen Jack McGlynn there. I like what I've seen from McGlynn there so far. But put Sullivan in there just for a little more experience in there. You look at the left side, put Brendan Aronson in there. It's either going to be Aronson or Luna, but Aronson, I thought, has played well so far this tournament. We saw him get a goal against Trinidad and Tobago. He provides that spark off the bench, so maybe they want to keep him coming off the bench, but he's a very talented player regardless, and either he'll start there or it'll be Luna. The number 10 position, Paxton Aronson. So it's the same midfield attacking 3 as we saw against Switzerland, and all 3 of those guys got subbed off at halftime. So it's going to be an interesting thing if they do go back with that same team, or we keep the same lineup that we've seen of McGlynn, Tillman, and Luna. We're just going to have to wait and see on that. But again, it just depends on how he wants to look at it. And then up top, I could see Patrick Agyemang starting regardless because Mauricio Pochettino really likes himself some Patrick Agyemang. But again, I do want to see Damian Downs starting at some point in this tournament. I think his runs have been very, very good. We saw him in the 15-minute cameo against Switzerland. We saw him in the game last night against Saudi Arabia. I thought his runs were good. He provides that little bit extra from the striker position. We saw him play 2 up top at the end of the game against Saudi Arabia right before the goal. with Chris Richards. So I would like to see Damian Downs in there. Maybe Brian White gets a run in the team. Maybe Haji Wright gets a start if he's coming back from his Achilles injury. We're going to have to wait and see on that. But I do want to see Damian Downs in there. So if we're looking at the experience lineup, I think it's going to be something similar to what we've seen so far this tournament. Maybe with Tyler Adams going in there in replacement of Luca De La Torre. But if you're going with the least experienced squad, or a squad that you want to get some reps in before the knockout stage, and maybe we could see just some mass subs at halftime. Maybe we see the experienced team, but then we get some mass subs at halftime. We're going to have to wait and see. But here's the lineup again, either side of the inexperienced team or the squad that hasn't really played so far this tournament. We're going to have to wait and see regardless, but I do think the United States has enough in this game to come out on top. I'm going to go with a 3-1 victory for the United States. I'm not going to predict goal scorers because I don't know which direction Pochettino's going to go with the lineup. Again, you could go with the experienced squad and just keep that same chemistry going up, or you could go with a whole new squad because you've already qualified for the knockout stage. And the worst thing that can happen is that you finish on top with 6 points. I find it very hard to believe that Saudi Arabia is going to beat Trinidad and Tobago by enough, and the United States is going to lose to Haiti by enough to finish anywhere other than first place. So maybe you feel that safety net in there. We're just going to have to wait and see. But the United States qualify for the knockout stage. I'm excited to see what the knockout stage looks like. We got to get through this game first. We got to focus one game at a time. We're in a one game at a time mentality here for the United States men's national team. So let's hope they get a dub. Should get a dub. It won't be an easy one, but let's hope they can come through, finish the group on top with 9 points, move on to the knockout stage with good momentum, and we see them carry that throughout the rest of the tournament. But that's all I've got for you today. If you enjoyed the video, awesome. If you didn't, I sincerely apologize. Try better next time. Make sure, again, to check out all the links down in the description below, all the different social media accounts, the podcast stuff, and all that great stuff. Make sure to leave a comment down below on what you feel about the United States performance against Saudi Arabia, how you feel about the game going into the game against Haiti, what you think about the Haitian national team, about the squad for the United States in general, all that great stuff. Let me know down below. But most importantly, make sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up. And again, I've been Logan Blackman. If you enjoyed, awesome. If you didn't, I sincerely apologize. Try better next time. And I will see you guys later. Peace.